Oh, good. Oh, thank you. Okay, well, welcome. Thank you for being here. Delighted to have you. It's been a little while since I've done the lives, and I think now that I'm in a rhythm here with COVID and the things that are happening, I will be able to make that a little bit more of a regular thing again. I found stability, I think. That's the funny thing. All right. Well, today, as our oh, we've got somebody coming in down here too. So today we were talking a little bit about, first of all, emotion. I mean, why are we here? This whole things are to bring some education and awareness, but also to start changing narratives, right? And um, make sure that what we speak, what we see, what we believe, we know to be truthful, correct, accurate, and helpful. And it's hard to do. I mean, this is an overwhelming age of information. It's just everywhere. But how do we always know that it's true, correct, or helpful? So, hence the reason these lives. The information I bring to you is based on always the grief recovery method. You can visit grief.net or griefrecoverymethod.com, and you can find all sorts of helpful information there. Also, it is the only evidence-based method on planet Earth for dealing with emotional recovery, which I don't know. I have emotion all the time for all different types of reasons. And recovery is what we're really looking for. Recovery is what builds resilience versus just trudging through things, carrying the weight on top of our shoulders of unresolved emotion. So now here we are today. Thank you for being here. And if you want the recording, by the way, you can always, if you're on Instagram, you can send it to me. Send me your email address and my comment or in the direct messages, and I can get you the recording. So imagine I'm here today as like a comedian. I am here to put on a show. And if I said things that you thought were funny, how would you respond? I'm guessing that you would respond with laughter. You would laugh of some in some kind of way. And would that be weird if you laughed when I said something funny? Probably not. I think we accept that in the world to be generally okay. Laughing at funny things, especially in the setting of, a comedy show, that would make perfect sense, right? Now, how about, let's see. I will need the recording because I need to share it with my son. Absolutely. Absolutely. You just shoot me a DM and I'll get it to you. Don't put it in the comments because I think it might be public then. So you just let me know what you need, okay? Um, so now imagine you go through something sad, and would it be weird or strange then to have maybe tears? The world I see has trouble with tears, has trouble allowing itself to cry on both sides of the spectrum, whether we're male, female, or anything in between. The world has a hard time allowing tears to be just normal, a natural part of a normal reaction when something sad happens, whether it's something sad that happens to ourselves or we see something that happens with other people. I mean, I used to cry with, I still do actually, with commercials and movies and whatever it might be. I can cry all the time. I just feel things deeply. And if I find them to be sad or just so beautifully touching, I will probably have tears. And it's been a bit of a sore spot in my life in some points because I would be laughed at. And so I'm curious who out there will allow themselves to have tears, or have you noticed it's sort of difficult? Uh, I grew up with some messages. So I think about one of my favorite movies growing up. I was huge into softball, huge. And one of my favorite movies was A League of Their Own. Do you know A League of Their Own? It's such a good movie. But one of the lines from there that I took to heart and I used through my life was, "There's no crying in baseball." And I took that, being a softball player especially, I took that to mean I don't need to fuss or show some kind of reaction when I'm hurt, whether physically or emotionally. I didn't show any emotion. In fact, I was known to be one of the most joyful people to people, but I felt things and I had sadness going on. So it would usually come out with a song or commercial, or gosh, those Super Bowl commercials, I would just sob during a lot of them. Movies, doesn't matter. I cried a lot, but only in connection to those things, not when it was emotionally true or accurate for myself and what I was seeing or experiencing. Those messages of there's no crying like baseball, or in baseball. How about cry? Did you know how to fill in the end of that sentence? Cry, baby. It's always sort of implying cultural influences impact the way people react to their emotions. Absolutely. And some cultures, it's not okay to be vocal about emotions. You are so correct. You are so true. Which is why this grief recovery method is so important, because it's on every single continent except for Antarctica. So what we are noticing, what the method already knows, what John W. James, the founder of the method, he recognized that this is a human problem. So where we have humans, except for the scientists in Antarctica and maybe the penguins, we have emotion, and the world is not super helpful with allowing us to process those emotions. And you're right, culture influence is huge. Here in the United States, where we are generally more free to talk about feelings and emotions, we don't always show them. And the other day, I happened to this whole idea has been on my heart and mind for so much. And then I saw an advertisement, a commercial of a new season of a show coming out with the very popular Kardashians. I'm sure you have heard of them. And whatever was happening, I could feel the emotion in the few little bits that they showed in this advertisement. But the girls, the mom, and I think Kim is her name. I don't actually know the show, even the people very well, but they would, oh, you're gonna make me cry. Oh, you're gonna, and they would stop and like, clean up their face as though there was something wrong with showing emotion. Now, I do get that not every moment do we want to, cry and wash off our makeup and those kinds of things, but I don't know what would happen if we did show people that we were human. If we have a huge platform such as the Kardashians, what would be the harm in showing people that we are human and have emotions and occasionally have tears? What if we changed that narrative that there's something wrong or sloppy or messy or just something unappealing about having tears? What if it's just as normal and natural as laughing? What if? What could happen if we started to just become emotionally honest about the fact that we have tears, we have emotions, and there's nothing wrong with that? Let's see. If you find, I do have sometimes people in my classes that say, well, I can't cry. I can't. My body won't do it. Okay, that's fine. Oh, hi, thanks for joining. That's fine. That's okay. If you can't cry, I would only invite you to sit with that and wonder why. Try to look back, not necessarily why, but look back where that started. Where did you learn that message of crying not being okay? Where did it come from? When did it start? Who did you see modeling that behavior? And is it something that you really think is helping you truly feel better? All we can do is, in changing narratives, is for one, hear true, correct, and helpful information. But for ourselves, we have to know what to do. And the first thing is always awareness, becoming aware of the messages that we have that aren't helpful, connected to feelings, sad, painful, sour feelings, things that don't feel good. Where did we learn those messages? So we have to become aware that we have feelings, and we have to become aware of our messages about those feelings. And then number two, we have to accept that when we have sadness and maybe tears that follow, that it's normal. We are normal. There's nothing wrong with us. We're not messy or broken or damaged or weak, or there's something shameful about us for being human. I only am human. I only know how to be human, and humans laugh and cry. And it's perfectly normal and natural. So not only do we need to accept ourselves as in our reaction to sad things as normal when we have tears, but we also need to accept that it's possible what messages we have been taught about emotion, sadness, tears, crying specifically, that might be true, might not be true, correct, or helpful. We might need to reevaluate what we are believing as our own narrative, because guess what? That's what the world is seeing from us. So we are reinforcing the misteachings of the world as well. It's okay to have tears and emotions. It's part of being human, and you are beautiful for being human. The third thing that we need to do is really just start to be aware of our emotional honesty. Maybe, we start to become aware that we're feeling sad or moved to tears. Maybe we don't allow them out at this time because we just haven't figured out how to do that. But it's okay to at least become aware that we are moved to tears, or we feel so full of emotion that tears may join the club, may join the show. And you know what? It's okay to say that out loud. I'm feeling really emotional, almost like there are tears right about to spill over the brim of my eyes. Wow, that's really intense for me. Do you see how that's emotionally honest? But you have no idea what the facts are that might be leading me to that feeling. So that's the third tip, is always to be emotionally honest. Start to be aware of where you have this need for tears, this maybe closeness to tears, or maybe you allow them entirely, and be honest with yourself. We can't be honest with other people until we are honest with ourselves. The idea has to come up and we have to say, oh, there might be tears there. And then we can then express it with other people, because acknowledging it for ourselves and then being emotionally honest with other people is how we start to not only change our own narrative, but then hopefully give them an opportunity to consider changing theirs too. It starts with you, and then it can journey out. Now, let's just say you have done these three things, and just having tears is not a magical fix. You're right, it isn't. It is a release valve for the built up emotion that's bubbling up for whatever event you're in, whatever moment you're in. We don't always like to live in tears. That can take us out of the moment. It can be dangerous for driving and those kinds of things. So it might be worth considering, if you are having tears on a regular basis that are interfering with your life, pause and think, what is causing that much sadness? Would you like help with it? Griefrecoverymethod.com, or just DM me and I'd love to give you more information, or maybe even enroll you in one of my classes. But also, I guess the biggest thing, I lost my train of thought if you can't tell, because I know I'm pushing time for you guys. The biggest thing is just to get emotionally honest. Be aware of what your narratives are. Have acceptance for the fact that you are not broken, or somehow, weak or not good enough. There's nothing shameful about having emotions. And then number 3, get honest with yourself and others. And if there's just so much intensity, maybe you can't find tears, again, reach out to a specialist. We can help you find where your emotional honesty got stuck. All right. So that is all for today. I thank you so much for being here. I'll always have these live on Instagram when we do these wows, these, I don't know, Wiser on Wednesday webinars. Wow, that is a mouthful, isn't it? But also, if you ever want the recording, you can register when I post the link, and get yourself the recording as well. And that's a lot easier to share. You can always DM me your email address as well, and I will get you the recordings that way too. So thank you for being here today. I love you. I hope to see you next Wednesday at 11:45. Have a fabulous Wednesday, y'all, and go change your narratives. All right. I love you. Bye-bye.